anymore?
I still think you do because it's like I can use ChatGPT to give me legal advice, but don't mean I'm a lawyer.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I still need to know the law to know when ChatGPT is correct or incorrect.
Yeah.
Because you're depending upon something that's getting information from a lot of sources. So the credibility of it is question.
Yeah.
If you don't know what you know, you have no way of cross-referencing. So who's in control at that point? Are you really good? Or you just playing website and they don't even think that you're legit. It's almost like a verification tool.
Yeah.
And with the World Wide Web,
So I launched an app, becomes super viral, that actually costs me.
because we put the limitations on yourself. There ain't no box, there ain't no.
Hey guys, welcome back to Mental Wealth. In today's episode, I have the owner of EasyBoyWeb, Landon Williams. In today's episode, we'll be talking about some programming, app development, all of it. Make sure you guys stay tuned. I think we should just dive into the change of the current environment. As we're briefly speaking about off camera, business has completely changed. Post-COVID, we have businesses went from, they had to go 2 years and they couldn't have customers in, everybody was social distancing. This drastically changed the way that people start and run businesses now.
Correct.
You mentioned that you saw the transition from everybody wanting to open a store as soon as they start a business to now where everybody wants to have a website.
Yep.
You care to talk about that?
Yeah, no. So I'm, not to age myself, but I'm born in the '80s, so I seen the, transition before the digital era, right? I seen businesses work from a Rolodex, which is probably too young to know what that is. I seen businesses work from a Rolodex, okay? But their whole business was on a planet.
Okay.
So versus now, there was no website. There barely even had business cards. That was pretty modern. So now, people use websites to. If you don't have a website, they don't even think that you're legit. It's almost like a verification tool.
Yeah.
And then the World Wide Web just makes everything just more scalable, right? You have a brick and mortar business back in the '90s or whatever. You're banking on people to ride by and see you.
Yeah.
Versus online, now I can target people and let people know that I'm here with less overhead. So, I think that the 2K and the certain errors, like certain errors that I hear, like 9/11 code and stuff like that, have made businesses and companies kind of be more streamlined, just be more digital.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because you can have a billboard, but they have no way of measuring the ROI.
Yeah.
You can't track anything from a billboard.
Yeah.
Now, okay, I'm going to add, I'm going to target who this gets in front of and know who's interested in who's not.
Yeah.
So it's just the way, things just got smarter.
Yeah, I quickly realized prior to me having to set up a billboard, I couldn't track any of the data.
Exactly.
So I don't even know how many people drove past it, how many people actually stopped and looked at it. All I know is I put up a billboard in the middle of town and hopefully I should get some more sales.
That's all it used to be. Think about marketing was just that basic, right?
Yeah.
So now people want to know, okay, I gave this marketing company this money, where, how many people did I show? Am I showing to the right people? If we showing to 10,000 people who are not interested means nothing to me as business.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So now I want to make sure my brand gets in front of the right people. And I think it's even better on the phone or computer because now where they're placing an action versus me driving in a car, I'm past 10 billboards. I don't remember the name, the number, or the address. But if I see it online, I'm already on my phone. I can save it, screenshot it.
Yeah.
Right? So it's just a higher conversion rate now with connecting people to products and services.
Yeah.
Which is what Google and all these different companies are getting paid so much trying to learn who you are, what you like, so they can put it right in front of you.
Yeah. All right. So what got you into the field? Do you have a computer science degree? Everything is self-taught. What made you choose it?
Man, that's a funny question. You want the real or okay, so I was always intrigued by my grandfather, probably the big inspiration because growing up, Dad came home one time, homework, and he was a little embarrassed because he couldn't help me. So it made him feel, dumb. And I was like, pretty early on, he was like, if he hadn't passed maybe third or fourth grade education, you know what I mean? He had to work early. It was just never his time. And he took it upon himself to go back to school and self-taught himself in math. And by the time I graduated, he was doing like math problems that I still to this day can't do. And he self-taught himself. So just having something like that kind of fueled me. And also I wanted to know things that, that people from my culture, especially our age that look like us wouldn't necessarily know, right? I knew it was coming up on the information age. And then I actually heard this racist guy making comments. I didn't take it personal. I was really listening to what he was saying. And he was saying that most, young black men are known for either entertainment, we singing and dancing, entertaining, playing ball, money fast, jumping high, whatever. And I always wanted to be respected for what's in my mind versus me doing those general things.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So like I think our generation and generation before us really hit down a lot of barriers into just getting to information and knowing things that, ain't to get held back from this information. So that's what made me, honestly, it's really that simple, bro. I didn't really know what I was going to do. I wasn't even really planning on going to college.
Okay.
I started, my first love was basketball, and my mom begged me to go like for 2 years. She was like, I knew I didn't want to do anything too traditional. I knew I wanted to own my own business, and do my own thing and have a skill that I could do something with. And I was like, man, computers are going to be the thing. I know some kind of way.
When did you realize computers were going to be the thing? Because you had to have it early.
Oh, well, see, I come from the AOL.
Oh, okay.
The internet on the disc.
Yeah.
Era. You feel what I'm saying? 56K modem dial up.
Yeah.
Well, you can't even use the phone.
Yeah.
There ain't no call. You blocking the phone line, getting on the internet.
Yeah.
I seen it then. I seen the way Napster consumed music and how everybody was downloading all this music, how they went crazy. So like it just changed the world.
Yeah.
Everything analog to digital. So I knew the old way of the world was getting ready to transform.
Okay.
I knew some kind of way I got to capitalize off it because now it's the information age. I didn't know what it would quite look like.
Yeah.
It's crazy looking back on it, not even here. But I just knew, man, if I just stay like computers ain't going nowhere, technology ain't going nowhere. And you talking about technology, I'm going to tell you what was technology going on. Was like knowing how to like punch the letters in by like the numbers.
Yeah.
There's no like.
I can straight up text somebody. I got to hit the 3 times to get an L.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or before that,
Dang.
it was just, you had to like be creative.
Oh my God.
Think about it. Think about a beeper. You know what I'm saying? Think about when you type in a number in a beeper.
Okay.
You saying something with the numbers.
Yeah.
So, just thinking that evolution. We get the two-way. We got high-speed internet.
Yeah. I see a lot of entrepreneurs think they need an app. Everybody starting a business now thinks they need an app.
Right.
Do they really need an app? And what's the difference between having an app and a website?
That's a good question, man. I love this question. I think it just depends on your business and your model.
Mm.
An app is a trendy thing that has its pros because most people download an app and they don't delete it off their phone, right? It's more of a closer to, you in terms of brand loyalty. If I'm a brand, if I have an app on your phone that's branded my company, I have a better chance to get it in front of you, right? Versus the text that make it buried, versus the email that make it buried. If I get you to download an app, chances are you won't delete it.
That's true.
So I have you some kind of way. So I think it just depends. I think it can be like if you're some kind of company that has, customer data, some kind of process that you need to be involved, right? Send a notification with the app and some kind of like step process or application process, back office, some kind of. I think apps do serve their purpose. And then websites, now more so either, you're collecting data or you're telling your story as a brand, who you are, who you're for, what you do. And it's almost like it's verification because people will Google and search you before they even do business with you. They want to, it's your digital footprint. How interface with your service others pleased with your service, right? But we look at these reviews, we want to have some type of context before we engage with these companies. Some people do that. A lot of people do that. So and I think those are the differences. I think if you have an app idea or a web app idea, a web app generally is cheaper, but it's with the time. Everybody is into this app, right? I gotta log in and just boom, everything's simplified. So that's where the app has its pros.
So if I'm an upcoming brand, should I build a website first or should I build an app?
Because there's some brands that have,
Okay, let me think of a brand that I see in the Black community. Everybody want a clothing brand. That's not meant for app.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of clothing brands that have apps.
Okay.
Because they want to capture people's wish list. They want to be able to send promos and stuff straight to their phone, right? So in those cases, I think definitely for e-commerce brand, customer loyalty, things like that is important. Sure, from an app standpoint.
Okay. What kind of businesses would you recommend
not having an app? You just have an informational brochure type site, and you don't really have it. It's not improving your customer experience in some kind of way. You just don't need an app, right? If you have an idea, some people have an idea that a mobile app is a big portion of their idea, right? If it's not that, it's just sitting around something simple you can do on a website that's mobile optimized, you don't need an app.
Okay.
It's not for everyone.
So is there a difference between web applications and web and apps?
Somewhat.
Okay.
So every app has a front end and a back end.
All right, what are the differences between?
So a web app is through the website.
Mm-hmm.
It's through a web interface, right? It still has a back end. It still has all the components of a mobile app. A mobile app is just consumed for the mobile. It's distributed in Apple Store, Google Play Store. You know what I mean? Those are the differences, and it's optimized just for mobile. Mm-hmm. A web app is optimized for the desktop, but it's in a browser, so it can go mobile, but it's based on you have an internet connection.
Yeah.
You can use an app and not have an internet connection.
Yeah.
So those are the differences.
When you're writing code, what are you actually doing? Are you just typing in commands and just assembling stuff? How do you write?
You gotta understand what you're doing. You're essentially engineering and styling.
Okay.
Project process is I first understand what it is the client is trying to do. That has nothing to do with anything technical. It's just straight up from a PA standpoint, understanding what they want, what they need, what they're trying to accomplish. If I'm working on an app, I may design it first, prototype it, just so that the flow, the intent, everything, polished. Then once I'm developing something, I'm either working on functionality or style. It's either the way something works or how something looks.
Okay.
So I'm just building the building blocks, building the components, building, the way something looks, building the theme, the colors, how something needs to function. So it's just really just putting those building blocks together and then connecting everything.
When you're programming and everything, are you using Python? Am I using C++? Am I using C-? Am I using something JavaScript, something completely different? How do I know which one to use?
Yeah, so you got different ones. Full stack, we can use, a multitude of languages. We have some enterprise companies, like bigger companies, they tend to use more like .NET, different type of frameworks. But if it's like, even it's like other than that, I use like JavaScript-based frameworks.
Okay.
So your React, these are like your modern languages, right? Python is more of a back-end language. So I use more JavaScript, Node.js, React, Next.js, Angular, but yeah. So C++ and all that kind of stuff is more of an older technology. So we kind of stick with more of the like JavaScript tech stacks.
Is it possible to write a perfect code the first time? Where does debugging and everything come?
I would say, anything man-made, right? Anything you build it, when you're building a building or when you building anything, you still have to have a quality assurance process.
Okay.
Like if anything man-made, anything built, testing is a big part of it, and refinement, is always a part of any process of building something. So, once you build it, you scope it, you test it out, you kind of give yourself some room to have some beta testing internally, and so your bullets are always expected.
If I'm a non-technical founder and I want to hire somebody to develop my vision, how do I know if they BSing? What questions should I ask them?
If I was a founder, I would want to know. I would want them to show me case studies and use cases of what they have done for others. Mm-hmm. Because if I'm a Series A funding company and you've never been involved in Series A funding, then I wouldn't trust you with that idea. Mm-hmm. Right? If I'm an enterprise level company and you've never done business with an enterprise level company, then I wouldn't trust you to know how to interface with my product line. Right? Yeah. You know what I mean? So I'd say just based on the expertise, based on what they've done, maybe let me talk to some people. Yeah. If I was a founder, I would say let me talk to who you've done a good job, for, and check it out. If I don't see anything on my caliber of company, I'll probably look at you. You know what I mean? And then having a company versus being a freelancer.
All right. Can you explain the difference to the audience about what's the difference between having a company and being a freelancer?
Having a company is you have processes, you have systems, you have a team, you have a vision, you're able to scale, you're able to know who you're dealing with, and you have a process and a certain way to deal with it. Mm-hmm. If you're just a freelancer, you're not thinking about a brand, you're not thinking about a certain level of commitment to quality of service. None of that crosses your mind. So the difference is, I think the company is going to be able to handle and have the additional resources to be able to scale and handle bigger projects. The freelancer, you're capped. You only handle so much.
So it's sounding like freelancers don't have any SOPs, no standard operating procedures, no nothing. They just go on.
Yeah, that's not their world. They're not even thinking about it. That's the difference between scaling. You can get into a business by hustling. But scaling and thinking smarter and not harder helps you get to a whole other level. The hustle can never get you in. The hustle gets you in the zip code. The scaling is the business, is the most hardest part. And most freelancers avoid that because they only want to just do work when they want to do it, and then they want to get off and go play the game or do whatever the hobby is. They're not focused on building a business.
I think a lot
of
people stuck in the hustling phase.
A lot of people stuck in it because they want to they want comfort. Okay. And they don't want to sacrifice. This requires sacrifice. People not going to pay the price.
They're not going to do that.
It's a bigger load, so it just depends on that person.
How much does it cost to maintain an app?
It can depend, man. Server costs, it depends on the bandwidth. It depends on how many people are accessing it, how much data is going back and forth, because that's how you're getting charged on the cloud. Okay. Based on the usage.
Okay, is it a certain cloud provider I should go with then? Or is it like, I know they have Google, AWS, Azure.
Yeah, it's different ones. It's just whatever works for you. Okay. Essentially they all have a very similar model, a way of working. It just comes down to preference.
Are there any hidden costs that come with this?
Hidden costs? No, not really. The cost is hard to understand. Like if you go on Amazon's website, you can be technical and not necessarily understand because it's not a flat rate pricing.
Oh, that's crazy.
Based on bandwidth. So
I launch an app, becomes super viral, that actually costs me.
It may cost because more people are accessing this data, more data is being sent back and forth, more data is being stored in the database, more API calls are made. Yeah. So more server costs, more server load. Yeah. Right. It's a difference between 10 people being on an app at one time versus 10,000 people using it at one time.
Okay, so it made me understand the Instagram or like a TikTok problem. You have people uploading high-speed video.
Thank you.
And like 4K resolution.
You understand what I'm saying? I think about 4 million people doing that at the same time. You understand what I'm saying? So that Instagram's server cost is in the millions.
Okay, I understand now. So that's why it makes me understand the whole ChatGPT. And they're like OpenAI is raising $1.4 trillion infrastructure speed.
Infrastructure cost, yeah. Okay. So everything is infrastructure, So yeah, it costs a lot to keep our stuff maintained, for sure.
So with tools like ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude,
Yeah.
Vibe coding is blue.
Yep. Yep.
Do I actually need to know how to code anymore?
I still think you do because it's like I can use ChatGPT to give me legal advice, but don't mean I'm a lawyer.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I still need to know the law to know when ChatGPT is correct or incorrect.
Yeah.
Because you're depending upon something that's getting information from a lot of sources. So the credibility of it is what is the question.
Yeah.
And if you don't know what you know, then you have no way of control at that point. Are you really building or are you just playing around?
That's true.
You know what I'm saying? Because if something happens, can you think critically enough to alter something? What happens when you need to change something?
Yeah.
What happens when something's not working that ChatGPT said will work?
Yeah.
Now what? Now you stuck. So yes, my opinion, you still need to know how to code. We're in a great place where it's awesome what ChatGPT can do. But I think people expect ChatGPT to do a lot more than what it actually can. It's not a production-ready app. ChatGPT cannot make it.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Can they make a calculator app, a tic-tac-toe app, or something like that? Yeah, they're gonna make a production-ready app. I have not seen it yet.
Okay.
Not saying at some point it will be it, because I don't want this video to age bad and then they pull me up talking about. But I just think never do that. They say never. Right now, whatever this time stamp is, okay.
I think what you touched on is what I ran into in my profession. And they're like, I use ChatGPT to be my therapist. I don't need a real therapist.
Exactly.
And I'm like, well, you got to know what to ask.
Thank you.
If you have no background knowledge, you can't vet anything that's being told you.
Exactly.
And I think that's part of the problem because people can watch a TikTok video and next thing you know, they're an expert in everything else.
But that's the problem with information. It's making people smarter and stupider at the same time.
Oh, wow, I didn't think about it like that.
Which is a whole other topic. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because we're relying too much on artificial intelligence. What happens to real intelligence?
That's true. That's true.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah, I think what you're touching on is that people quit thinking for themselves. And so now we have algorithms influencing the way we think. We have news influencing it. And the news is a big algorithm itself. And so
people not even driving themselves no more.
see, that's a whole different thing in itself.
So you ain't thinking for yourself. You ain't driving for yourself.
Yeah.
You don't want to think for yourself. You don't want to drive for yourself. You don't want to do nothing.
Yeah.
You just want to wake up in the morning and talk to ChatGPT.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's actually crazy. I've never even thought about it like that. What is one skill a human programmer has that AI can't replace?
Human has like it's closed now. You know what I'm saying? I think we have the bias empathy. Just like if I asked ChatGPT something and there was a level of bias or something in it, right? To understand, like if I asked ChatGPT a legal question or something, right?
Yeah.
And if ChatGPT doesn't understand the racial undertone or something, this and that and the third, as a human, I can better reason and better understand that person. So it's that human empathy, it's that human critical thinking, being able to, you know, but I mean, it does have a reason and logic, but I don't know. You know what I'm saying?
Feel like we can't trust it yet.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, just, you know, I guess intuition or whatever we have in the brain that makes it not artificial intelligence.
I think you're talking about creativity. I think it's impossible, an artificial machine that was made to do these specific tasks.
Yeah, how
It's
creative
not-
can it really be?
Yeah.
If it's taken from, it's like life imitating art, because it's like you're taking from other sources. So did you really come up with that?
Yeah, because technically everything you're producing is generated other content.
But it's kind of the way we think too, though, if you really go deep and think about it, because everything we do and see is being generated, right? That's why music is such a big part of our culture, right? That's why we imitate out of what we do,
Yeah.
right? That's why we think the way we think or do things the way we think because of what we see, what we. So it's kind of like we take it out. So it's similar. That's why I say it's similar in the reasoning, but you know, we still, I think, humans, we still have that.
Do you think AI ever replaced software engineering? Because we see everybody losing their job. They tell everybody to go to school for software engineering and everything. Then everybody's like, AI's going to take our job.
The ones that can't critically think, yes.
Oh, okay.
But I think we'll take some. If you are sub, I think in anything you need to be worried. You know what I'm saying? So if you, your job always gonna be a risk, even if the industry is just innovates. Right? You gotta think about Uber, Airbnb, all these people who had no idea that the whole industry would turn upside down.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So do I think it take the need? Like we don't have no more software developers? Nah. Because these are tools that you can develop. Everything is so agnostic. You can build this and build this into this and this into this. So you'll always need someone. It's almost like somebody going back in time and saying somebody built the first crane. You said, well, do we need these guys then? Do we need the construction guys because we got the machine? No. The guys use the machine and are more productive.
Okay. So a good programmer is going to be using more tools
and being more productive, it just enhances the workflow. I don't think it replaces.
So if I'm trash regardless. It don't matter what.
If you trash. You know what I'm saying? Even it might can make you a little better if you trash because now you have a source. Like a good senior developer, the difference between a junior developer and the senior one is the senior one just goes and does research.
Okay.
The junior developer is sitting there waiting for somebody to hold their hand and tell them what to do. That's the difference.
Okay.
Accountability.
Okay.
Because time and all that experience, and those are things that come with experience. When you were fresh on the first time in job, something you first did, you looking for direction. You overthink it.
Yeah.
Guy been doing it, man. He come in, he's gonna tell you what to do. He gonna do it quick. He done it.
Yeah.
You spend all day trying to figure it out. You know what I'm saying? That's the difference.
Where do you think agents come into play? Because we hear about this AGT tool, this AGT. Then you got tools like anti-gravity. I'm not gonna lie, I played with it myself, and it like used React and everything for me. All I had to know was natural language. But where do you think agentic tools come into play?
I think it's, I'm gonna be honest, I'm not super familiar with them. Okay. But I think that as they continue to, I think it's gonna be like more into like tools that are built to help businesses solve problems when it comes to workflow, when it comes automating repetitive tasks, right? Things that need to, what's this happening and this needs to happen, right? It's just all about being efficient as possible.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? That's just now that we're in the information age, now it's about automating certain things. Now it's about working smarter, not harder.
Yeah, now you got the information, what you gonna do with it?
Now it's what are you gonna do with it?
Yeah.
Now how me and you have access to the same information. But how do I use mine? How do you use yours?
Yeah.
So that's what's gonna be the difference in, okay, now I can customize whatever my workflow, whatever it is. Now my competitor may not be using it. So maybe today and tomorrow doesn't make a big difference. Maybe over 3 months, if I save myself 20 hours of drive, it gives me an advantage over them.
Yeah, that's gonna add up.
So now I just think it makes everything a more competitive landscape because you have to put these tools in place if you want to compete. Because the people who have the information, know what to do with the information, are always in the front runner of any industry.
That's so true. You got me thinking about the railroad industry. Then we go into the internet boom. There was the next big industrial revolution out of that. Then the internet started. Now we in AI.
Then we got AI. Then we got coins that you can't physically touch.
Yeah, if
you had told somebody 30 years ago, I'm gonna sell you a coin, it's gonna be worth, how much is Bitcoin worth right now?
Like 90K.
You understand what I'm saying? A coin worth 90K, but the coin ain't.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, I think they would have thought you was like tripping off some like a shroom or something. There's no way.
And now we here.
Okay.
A coin worth $90,000.
And back in '09, it was like $3, $11 or something.
And you don't physically have the coin.
Yeah.
So
how do you think AI has impacted the barrier to entry for everything?
I think it's made it easier and harder.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Because, like I said a while ago, I think it made people smarter and dumber at the same time. Made people smart, but a lot of people be mentally lazy. So it's like, okay, well, I don't have to learn just Google and ChatGPT. Like Google did it first.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I don't need to do this. I'm gonna just Google it. But you ain't cross reference. You know, in school you kind of learn how to okay, how am I make sure none of that plays in the part? You just take whatever it says, you just take it.
Google kind of replaced what, the almanac and the encyclopedia replaced all of
You
it.
had to spend all day in the car catalog section. They spend all day in the library.
Yeah.
Now the information they got out here is dated.
Yeah.
Think about the information that's talking about technology that's on them shelves.
Yeah. You can't even be obsolete.
You can't use that information.
What was that, C plus?
So the control of the information is powerful than the information is. So, I think it helps. I also think it hurts. Think about this now. Think about you going to the hospital and you got a nurse or a doctor that's a doctor because of ChatGPT.
Oh yeah, that's terrible. I'm screwed.
You on your surgery bed, they need some real help, and your life or death may be in the hands of a Google search that they hurry up and did, or maybe they ain't really do the test, they just ChatGPT'd it. So that's the world we living in. How many people really know what they know, or how many people just ChatGPT back? These people, they got you in their hand.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
You better know what you're doing. I hear a lot of stories about people talking about unicorn companies. It's like being $1 billion. And they're like, with AI, it's actually going to be possible for us to see the world's first unicorns with 2 employees. How possible do you think that is?
I think it's possible.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I think it's possible. I think it's going to be possible.
Okay.
You gotta think about it. You got richer companies with less people any time in history. You got companies with 10, 15, 30, 20, 30 employees or, crazy amounts, crazy numbers, So it just comes down to the organization and those businesses understand systems. Those businesses understand processes, you know what I mean? So less is more for them because they're more agile. They don't have to go through all these chains. These big companies have all these people. They react slow because they have to talk to so many people to get something done, get something approved.
Yeah, they got a manager managing the managers.
Smaller companies turn right around and do the guy right here.
Yeah.
They just go in the war room and figure it out.
It's funny that you say it because the first thing people think is when they start a business. Well, it used to be when I started a business, I have a store. I have to hire people to run the store. And so they automatically increase overhead costs because I got to pay for your health insurance, your retirement, everything else. And you're going to go on maternity leave when your baby comes and everything.
Exactly.
And so now it seems like people are able to do a lot more with a lot less. And I think that has completely changed everything about society.
Yeah. And then with inflation too, people have to pay attention more about cutting waste and cutting corners and doing more with less.
I'm coding and I'm using generated code. And it's using code that was already generated on the internet or something.
Mm-hmm.
I would assume that would create a shaky foundation for a business. How safe is my business if I build it all by coding and generated code?
If I have a serious business, I would not trust that. I would want to have a team that can make sure I have the right code in place and can support that.
Okay.
Because my code, I really don't know what I'm doing, and I can't make any adjustments. Mm-hmm. I'm at the mercy of the tools that I use. So if I can't articulate it correctly, if the tool doesn't understand what I need, then I can't finish it. Yeah. So that can be very costly. You got a serious company, you got a serious contractor, serious, business, that can get it away. Yeah.
If all of us using ChatGPT and I type in a certain query that helped me vibe code a website, couldn't somebody else just type in that same query and then use the same stuff I just used to make a website?
You could, yeah. Once you enter something, yeah, it's accessible to others.
So what do people do about security protocols and everything? Everybody have the same security protocols.
That's the big thing about security now with AI. The thing you feed it, that's the topic. That's the conversation. You can adjust that. That's why you shouldn't. You're not supposed to put sensitive data in. You're not supposed to feed it in this person.
Yeah, I've actually been seeing that become a problem too because now with kids, we're seeing it online. It's like a big thing going up all over Twitter. Like a woman might post a picture and then they get on Twitter at Brock. Make her wear a bikini. So the AI is literally undressing grown women. They're like, how legal is this?
It's wild. They got to come up with new laws to govern it. Laws ain't caught up with innovation.
I understand what the government, they're trying to not stifle innovation.
Right.
But at the expense of
You gotta govern it.
the people. I mean, everybody, like, somebody can take any picture they find of anybody and be like, make him naked. And the picture, these apps are doing. Who do you think ends up being responsible? Is it the person that typed in the prompt? Is it the platform that gave him the image? Is it both people? And a big problem that I've been seeing too is that they're trying to say that the picture, since it's a generated image, is technically not real, so it's technically not the person.
I guess it's kind of, I guess it's a double-edged sword because let's say you're famous, right?
Yeah.
Let's say you're some famous rapper, streamer, YouTuber, whatever, people know you, right? Your picture's on the internet. Once your picture is on the internet, does it belong to you anymore?
Oh,
Or did it belong to the platform you uploaded it to, right?
okay.
Or is it just out there? So there's nothing, if I just see your picture on Google, let's say you saw famous for the album movie, I download the picture and I make an edit to the picture.
Yeah,
I didn't break the law.
that's true.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's
If I publish it to say this is mine, if I put your face on a t-shirt and sell the t-shirt, so then I'm selling your likeness and image.
Yeah.
But if I edit it, put a funny hat on you and put you back on live, I don't know what I really did. Now, unless you're a brand, unless I'm a company that posted, there's some kind of damage you can tie that to me. I think that's when you may have some legal issues, but you know, it's still an uncharted, you know what I mean, territory that they still kind of working out. I think you'd be in trouble if you played maybe with the wrong content, wrong people, you know what I mean, lawyers, IP attorneys, and stuff like that.
Yeah, because I see they can have a field day when it comes to this field, because I've even seen at school. I remember it being an incident where somebody took a picture of a young man, used AI generated a picture of that young man and made him naked, threatened to extort him with it.
Oh wow. It's gonna be crazy in the future, man. People are not gonna know the difference between what's real and what's not. That's gonna be scary for the next generation. Because AI, because you gotta think, right? Somebody do something, you know, they rely on video and image to validate they did something.
Yeah, it's like, all right, we got the picture of you, so it gotta be real.
Like now we got the video too.
Yeah.
Coming in at 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
How do we know it's real?
I think now
It's
we're
scary.
going to have to question all of reality. Like,
Yeah.
what do we even define real at this point? Because somebody can generate an image of me, looks exactly like me, but they're saying it's not me. How do I know it's real?
Man, that's what they're gonna have to deal with, right?
Good Lord.
And what's real and what do you really know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Next generation, I got some work on you.
Yeah, I
got gray hair, so I'm trying to enjoy mine.
If coding is cheaper now, what do you think the real value is?
Expertise, consulting, the experience, the suggestions, the critical thinking, the strategic thinking, that comes with experience. That's what the value is when you're a serious company or a serious business, or you have a product, you have a service, like just knowing someone and having a team that can problem solve.
If we stop hiring junior developers because everything is cheaper, how do we even get senior developers?
Say that again.
Like, how does somebody work up the job ladder from a junior to a senior when they're getting rid of junior developers and replacing all that with AI? I'm seeing it with lawyers, and they're talking about associates, and when somebody joins a practice and they're trying to work their way up, but majority of the legal work was searching through documents.
Yeah.
Now I can just upload the PDF of the document and just search it like that.
Great question. Now I have no idea. I would think it would be a lot harder to prove yourself as a junior person, but I think also it's a pro and con because you have more tools at your disposal as a junior person. So you can probably skip to being a senior person a little bit quicker. That's really, what's the big difference between junior and senior?
Okay.
A person who has a little bit of experience and who can go and figure it out. That means you failed. It means you have made enough mistakes to know what to do when this happens. That's the only difference between the senior. And most of these companies honestly don't care whether it's senior, junior, or whatever. They just care that you have the type of personality that can be accountable and they can problem solve and figure it out. You know what I mean? Like those are I don't even think these companies care that you have all this degree or all this years of experience. Are you coachable? Are you a self-starter? You're self-motivated? Can you figure it out?
Yeah.
Because you're moving on these companies who are not necessarily not holding hands. They're just putting you in a position and you having to figure it out. They're expecting you to be senior enough to be professional enough to just figure it out. That's what companies move.
Yeah.
But if you're somebody with that personality, I don't think you have.
What would you tell a young person watching this? How would you advise them to get started in this field with the ever-changing landscape?
Learn, understand as much as you can. Never stop learning. Be obsessed with information. Anything, make sure you're passionate about it, because anything you do, it's going to require sacrificing your full heart. You know what I mean? So just maybe before you choose, whether it's tech or whatever, have that deep conversation with yourself and understand that, like, okay, what requires sacrifice, and be patient. Choose that journey and learn what you can. Make mistakes. Don't be afraid to make mistakes as quick as you can so you can learn from them. But don't cut corners in learning. Just remain a student. You're going to always learn. I don't care. There's nothing you do that's going to become a time, oh, I know everything. I'm an expert. I already know everything. I don't need to know nothing else. Laws are changing. Things are changing. Anything changing. So as long as you have that balance, that good balance, man, jump into it. You know what I mean? Look at the Forbes list. Look how many people on the Forbes list are in tech.
Yeah.
Look at the stock market. Companies are blown up because of tech.
Yeah.
So it ain't going nowhere, obviously. Just find your niche and learn, man,
If it's one thing you want somebody to take away from this episode, what would it be?
You put the limitations on yourself.
Mm.
And, like, there ain't no box, there ain't no certain way to do nothing. Somebody probably would have told the person that created Uber 10 years before that, 30 years before that, they would say that was a dumb idea. It ain't gonna work.
Yeah. Now we get it.
Now we get it. So, don't ever put yourself in a box. Don't ever cripple yourself. Don't ever stop learning. Don't ever stop evolving. Understand what it is you want out of what you want, and don't stop. Go through the adversity, grow through it, get in love with the journey and not the destination. So once you're there on something, one of my good friends told me, fall in love with the journey, because once you're there, let's say you're trying to go from here to downtown Greenville. Once you're there, then what?
Yeah.
But on the way, if you're enjoying the journey on the way, you got the winter roll down, you're enjoying the way there. It lasts longer.
Yeah.
They getting there. You know what I mean? So just fall in love with the journey and whatever you're doing. Like, don't think, oh, I gotta have this overnight. Don't compare yourself to someone else. Find your niche. Fall in love with your journey and do it your way. Like, you could really do it your way. My era growing up, they used to say, you ain't gonna make no money playing video games all day.
Yeah.
Now I'm little kids are millionaires by playing video games.
Yeah.
Just don't be afraid to chase the dream. Don't give up on it. A lot of people probably giving up on their dream quick before it even was able to happen. But you work at anything, man, so you can do it. It ain't no excuse. We got these phones in our hands at 24/7. We got ChatGPT, Google. It really is no excuse for not knowing anything. We're in the smartest information age we've ever been in history of mankind, and we probably the dumbest
And the most distracting.
and the most. So we just have to come with the time. But the biggest thing, man, just never let nobody tell you how to make your magic in your solve. You know what I'm saying? Once you know, you know. Don't be afraid to learn. Don't be afraid to step out.
I think around right. So is anything?
Okay.
Is anything you tell out there?
That was it, man. Check out EasyBoyWeb and at EasyBoyWeb, EasyBoyWeb on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, EasyBoyWeb.com. We specialize in custom websites, mobile applications, software, SEO, digital marketing, AI development, automation. Yeah, so check us out. And we appreciate you for having us.
Yes, sir. Appreciate
Yes,
it. You enjoyed today's episode? Peace.